Disclaimer! The following episode contains spoilers for Incredibles 2. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned! Welcome to PodCapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. And this week, we're talking about a good Fantastic Four movie. It just so happens that it's The Incredibles. Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to PodCapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. My name's Scott James Merridew, and this is the show where we talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and are joined each week by a very special different guest. Now, I mentioned in episodes past that we wouldn't get The Incredibles 2 in the UK until much later than the US, but it's finally here, and you know what, now that it's here, we do want to talk about it, so let's just fucking talk about it. And I'm joined in this endeavor by my friend, my cohort, it's Mark Russell, ladies and gentlemen.
I waited so long for this.
Yes, it has been a while.
A while? It's been 15 years.
But we're going to talk about that in a minute. Before we do that, I want to let you know, Capers, David Malofsky and I, we're going to Meanwhile Comic-Con. That's right. Meanwhile, in Worthing, you can catch us on the 11th of August. Same as Leamington Spa Comic-Con, we will be doing a live podcast recording right there at the Comic-Con. And what we will be talking about, we would be having a discussion about why we love comics and why the medium holds such a unique place in the world of entertainment. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We are looking forward to seeing you there. You can get tickets for Meanwhile Comic-Con at, meanwhilecomiccon.com. You can find it all there, and it will be a lot of fun. We'll include a link in the show notes just so you can find tickets if you want to come down there. It's the 11th of August, that's a Saturday, so you should have no excuses. What, do people work on Saturdays? No, we all know that the entire country comes to a complete halt over the weekend. But anyway, we're talking about The Incredibles 2, and I say it has been a long while since the last Incredibles. When did Incredibles 1, as we must now call it, first come out?
2004.
2004, so it's 14 years then.
Yeah. I was 13.
I must have been about the same age then, yeah. So it's, wow. That's a long development cycle.
I did my waiting! 15 years of it in Azkaban!
Have you been in Azkaban this whole time? Oh my god, I never knew. But no, yeah, it's I've heard stuff like Pixar didn't really want to go through with it, but Brad Bird did. But then when they finally got around to saying, okay, you know what, we'll do Incredibles 2. I think that part of the reason was because like they have like that big Pixar meeting where they came up with like a bunch of different films. And I think Incredibles was one of them, but that was one on a list. So they had lots of other films they were going to do. So by the time they got around to it, they ran out of that list, they say, okay, well now let's make Incredibles 2. That's when the superhero subgenre really started to blow up.
Hell yeah. Although from my understanding, same story, except Brad was supposed to have an extra year to develop the movie. And it said, well, we're pushing Toy Story 4 back a year, so you have 1 year less to do Incredibles 2. Get on with it.
Oh, God. Right. So, yeah, so it's a bit of a very slow burn, and then suddenly a very fast burn.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, because you and I have probably been following Pixar since Toy Story.
Yeah, ever since I was a kid. Yeah, it's...
So, out of all the films they've done, The Incredibles was perhaps the only one that really warranted for a sequel.
Did it though?
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
I mean, look, okay, let me put it this way. Toy Story warranted a sequel because there were so many more things they can do with the nature of these toys and their relationship with Andy and how that all goes, what they're going to deal with him growing up and stuff like that, which they explored fully in 2 and 3. God knows what they're going to do with 4. I don't know.
Bo Peep's going to be in it, I think, as the main storyline.
Fucking finally. Like, where was she in the third one? Just
I assume they
gone.
threw away. I assume they threw away.
Just like, oh, by the way, Bo Peep was gotten rid of. Yeah, Bo Peep was gotten rid of. My love interest. That's
It's not
that
like she's the main
sucks.
character.
It'll be the only time we mention her, though.
Yes, and because we were waiting for. I was waiting for 14, 15 years is a long time to wait for a sequel. I suppose if you're from our generation anyway, and we had to.
I'm remarkably patient.
We've been patient, very patient. And then we've had to go through 2 Cars sequels, both of which were generally unnecessary.
And
money
Cars spin-offs.
Planes and trains and space things and God knows what else.
Automobiles.
We're going to do a film about pogo sticks eventually.
Yeah, probably, because, I mean, this is, like, let's be honest, every studio has the one cash cow, and Cars is Pixar's cash cow. That's the one where they milk it for all the money they could possibly wring out of it, like blood from a stone, and we let them have it. We let them have it because everything else they do is brilliant. Like, they've earned it.
Yes, I even like The Good Dinosaur, and I don't know why people say it's rubbish, even though it's ripping off both Land Before Time and Ice Age.
Right, why do people dislike that movie?
I don't know. Apparently, because it's... I don't know.
It's not exactly complex, I know that much, but it's a nice, sweet, simple story. Not the most original thing like Ice Age and Land Before Time, as you say, but you know what? For what it was good, and it was fun, and it was nice and sweet and very beautifully animated, and it was nice. It was nice. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Would you say Cars 2 is a bad movie or just a subpar movie?
I think it's a bad movie. You know what the thing with Cars is, like, I don't have the energy to get mad at Cars. It's like getting mad at a puppy for doing a whoopsie on the carpet. Like, I mean, yeah, that's bad, but what were you really expecting? It's a fucking puppy. Like, just either house train it or just ignore it.
Yeah, the Cars 2 is the untrained house puppy.
Well, actually, no, I take that back. Cars 3, I thought was really good.
Oh, I agree entirely. It was
surprisingly good. Like, for the mediocre, very average movie that Cars was, and the utter trollop that Cars 2 was, it's amazing that they came up with an idea as sophisticated as Cars 3.
Well, Cars 3 should have been Cars 2. They should have just skipped Mata's story altogether.
Yeah, who cares?
You can't exactly
no one cares about fucking Mata.
Exactly.
No one.
They're good.
Yes. The Ghost Lad. I don't care.
It's the Ghost Lad, which apparently gives me the authority to have my own sequel.
No. But anyway, we're here to talk about The Incredibles 2. And it picks up. No. Before we talk about The Incredibles 2, we got to talk about the short film that came before it. Bow.
Weird.
You thought it was weird?
Interesting, but weird.
Yeah, I mean, it was, a little bit weird, but then I like weird. I am weird. I wear fucking 3D glasses all the time. I mean, it'd be hypocritical of me to call something out for being weird. But I rather liked it.
Well, when they got to the point, not to give spoilers away, but when they got to the point where
we're going to spoil this short animated film before the main film that we are definitely going to spoil.
Yes, I know.
Or we could just talk about the fucking short film.
Okay, that works too.
Yeah. And so, I mean, so it's a story about, like, a mom, and she she's Chinese. Right? Yeah, she's Chinese.
I think.
Well, she's of Chinese descent at the very least. They appear to be living in America or some other country other than China. And she makes this thing called bao, which appears to be some sort of dumpling of some sort. I don't know Chinese food, except for the stuff we get for takeaway. And even then, I always get the same thing.
Yeah. I just assume it's a dumpling.
I never get dumplings. Do you know what I get? I get special fried rice. I get prawn crackers. I get sesame prawn toast, and that's me done.
Yeah, but your food doesn't come to life.
That is true. My food doesn't come to life because one day this particular bao that she's about to eat comes to life, and it's like a little baby bao, and it's cute.
A bit cute. Yeah, it was a bit cute. I mean, not the cutest thing, but it was quite. It was like, oh, it's cute. It's alive. I don't understand why, but it's cute.
It's magic realism, Mark.
I know.
And she like takes care of the little bow instead of eating it, and looks after it, and takes it with her and stuff, and it grows like a little torso and arms and legs and a face and stuff. And it's like a kid, and then it tries to play with other kids, and she's like, no, don't play with the other kids. And then he plays with the other kids, and she's like, no, I take it with me now. And it's like, meh, get away from me, mum. And that's when I immediately realized, oh, I see where this is going. And so yeah, little bow thing grows up, and it tries to leave with this rather. It's very awkward. It's an awkwardly attractive lady that it's going out with. But bear in mind, this bow, like, it looks a bit older. It's got like a little ripple on its chin that's supposed to be like, oh, it's like facial hair stuff to show that it's gotten older. But it's still like tiny. Like the hobbits aren't this short. Jeez. And it's going out with this lady, and like it still looks a bit too infantile to me. And it's just like, hey, this little baby bow thing's going out with this very tall, very mature blonde lady, and it's just like a little bit weird. And in order to stop him from going out with the awkwardly older lady, the mum eats him, and then starts to cry. And she cries, and then she looks over at the bedroom door, and it's her son, we presume her son. This is all silent, by the way. Like, there's no actual dialogue, and he's not a bow. He's a person, and it's obviously just something that she's been going on inside her head, and it's all about separation anxiety and family and stuff like that. And then the son, the dad, who's barely in it, and the girlfriend get together, and thankfully now this person is, he looks older now. Because it is the little baby bow. It's not a height thing. Because like, people of different heights go all the time. That's fine. He looks so cute and tiny and wee, and it felt wrong. Now he looks older. It looks actually like, okay, now we don't have to call someone. Now we don't have to call the police. And they get together and they make bow together, and it's very nice.
Yeah, I at first I interpreted it the wrong way. I thought, oh, okay, she has a distant husband, she doesn't have a kid, and that's what the whole bow thing was about. But then it turned out
that's what I thought at first as well.
Yeah, and then it turned out that it was the separation anxiety. She didn't want her actual son to grow up and leave her, and by the looks of it, they had left on wrong terms, and then he came back to make amends.
Yes, and it's like, I forgive you, Mum, for eating me.
Which didn't actually happen, because I assume was a dream.
Yeah, but that was really traumatic. I remember in the cinema watching this, and I was just like, oh my god, she just ate her child. Oh my crap. Oh, now she's crying. Oh god. And people in the audience were laughing. It was like, what is wrong with you guys? You are fucked up.
Well, I was like shocked. Like, okay, that was sudden.
Yeah,
I thought she was like, I thought they were gonna have like an emotional, an emotional non-speaking chat, but then she ate him, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, it's done very well. It's used very effectively, but it's and the animation is gorgeous, but it's very it's very weird, but rather pleasant.
Pleasantly weird, which is good.
Pleasantly weird, I think is the best way to describe it. But anyway, on to the main event. It's the movie picks up right after the previous movie ended, but actually what really interested me is it started with like a homage to. Did you have the DVD of the first Incredibles movie?
Damn straight.
Featured on the first Incredibles DVD movie, there was like this another short film about the babysitter Kari.
I can totally handle everything this baby can dish out.
Yeah. Okay, that sounded like Eric Cartman. Jeez.
I can't do girl voices. Respect my authority.
And basically, that short film was about Kari looking after Jack when it was getting found. So in the movie, when the Pars get that call from Kari, like say those voicemail messages from him saying like, "Help! I need help! Jeez!" and then thanks for sending around that extra babysitter. We get to see that all happen, and we get a little Syndrome cameo at the end, and it's all done while she's being interrogated, like it's done in flashbacks, while she's being interrogated by this guy. What's he called?
Rick Dicker.
Rick Dicker, yes, voiced by the late great Bud Lucky. Bud Lucky, yes.
Wonderful Pixar animator.
Pixar animator who's also featured as the voice of another short film called Bounding.
Boundin'. And he was also Eeyore in the 2011 Winnie the Pooh movie.
I did not know that. Wow. And he's just basically interrogated, like, okay, so what happened with the baby? What happened with this extra babysitter? And he's like, did you tell anyone else about this? Your parents? Whilst he's aiming like this big machine at her with a laser dot. And she's like, no, they didn't believe me. But you believe me, don't you? Sure, I do. I just wish I could forget the whole thing. You will, kid. Plop! You will. And the exact same thing plays out with this other kid, Tony Ridinger. People in this movie have weird names. I don't want to disparage someone's names, but still, that's a weird name. And anyway, they basically plays out the same thing. Like he sees basically the Incredibles take off after the Underminer, whilst Violet is left behind to look after Jack. And because she doesn't want to babysit Jack, she throws down her mask in frustration, which is a weird thing to throw in frustration. And it's just like, take that, flimsy piece of material. That's satisfying. There. And she turns around and he sees her without a mask. And he's just like, oh my god, you're a super. Oh my god. Because in the previous movie, she asked him out, or he asked her out, or it was very nice and cute. And because of that, Rick Dicker basically mind wipes him. He goes all Men in Black on him. And this leads into the movie proper, with the Incredibles teaming up to try and stop the Underminer, which they fail to do miserably. Because, like, here's the thing. The Underminer goes underneath the city, collapses a bank into, like, these caverns, and, like, sucks up all the money. Yeah. And I'm sitting here thinking, why did he announce his presence to the world before doing that? Like, if I was going to rob a bank, I wouldn't pop up outside the bank and say, hello people, I'm a supervillain and I'm going to steal money from this bank and my terror will be all-consuming. Bye! Like, I'd maybe pop up afterwards and say, hey, I just robbed the bank, my terror will be all-consuming. Bye! But, he doesn't do it. He just goes straight into the... And they try to stop him and they fail... And he gets away. All they manage to do is stop civilian casualties and from him destroying the city hall. And we never see the Underminer again.
No, he's gone.
He's gone. Like he's just gone. Like I thought he would pop up some other point in the movie. Like maybe he would turn out to be the main villain or a side villain or something. Or like at the end of the movie they would finally wrap things up, saying, "Now we got you. Like let's bookend this thing. Let's tie up all the loose strings." But no, he goes and, I assume, goes on to rob even more people and continue his campaign of terror and villainy, and no one tries to stop him. Like, I'm like later on when they hook up with these other people, I imagine these other people that we'll get onto later will be like saying, okay, don't worry about the Underminer, we got feelers out, we're going to track him down, and you guys are going to get him, don't you worry, we're not going to let him try and get away. But no, he never even gets mentioned again.
Well, actually, there's a video game called The Incredibles Rise of the Underminer, which is obviously a non-canon sequel to The Incredibles. Why did they incorporate that into this movie?
I don't know. I don't know. But here's the thing though. The police and the mayor and people like that are none too happy about the fact that the illegal superheroes, the superheroes are still illegal, are out and about and trying to solve stuff, and they're like, oh, the collateral damage, oh. But they do make some very good points, like, okay, did you stop Underminer from stealing the money? Well, no. Did you stop him from getting away? No. Did you stop all the collateral damage? No. Well, you did such a great job then. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, they do actually have a legitimate point there. I mean, it could have been. It would have been much worse. But they you make a good point. And that's like, what we're supposed to do? Do nothing. And they said, yeah, do nothing because we have scenarios in place to deal with this situation. And that's a slightly interesting point, but also slightly bullshit. Cause
where were those thingies when the giant robot was attacking?
Yeah, where were all the systems in place when the giant fucking robot attacked like 3 months ago? And like no one was complaining then. Like
I need to play now.
Yeah, and also the Incredibles do actively stop multiple citizens from being squished by the big fucking the mole from Thunderbirds ripoff.
I'll say I'm not the only one who saw similarities.
The whole time that was going on, I was just in my head. I was just like da 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 da. And the multiple witnesses to this, like multiple, like Mrs. Incredible or Elastigirl or Helen, whatever her name is. She's like, oh, there's a bridge, and she's like, there's traffic going on the bridge. She's like, no, people, don't go any further. Stop this. And like she pushes people out of the way, and then the thing goes through the bridge. And if she hadn't have done that, people would have died.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, so I understand the authorities' position, like you didn't help, but I also understand the position of if they hadn't helped, then people would have been squished.
Yes.
So you know, kind of. Yeah. Let me put it this way: failure on both ends, failure for everyone. But while this is going on, some guy who I swore for the majority of the film I thought was James Woods. Thankfully, it's not. Because I was really worried about it. Bob Odenkirk versus this guy. What's his name? Something Dever. Winston Dever. Which sounds to me like they're trying to do some sort of pun, like Windever, Endeavor.
Endeavor, I presume.
And he's got a sister, Evelyn Dever, like Ev Dever. I don't get it. And it's and he sees the superheroes and he's like, oh my god, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. Follow them. Let's make sure we can see all of this. And while the Incredibles are captured, Lucius, aka Frozone, manages to get away and is not cornered. He's approached by representative of Winston Dever, who says, hey, I've got an opportunity for you. I want you to join the Incredibles initiative. It's like it's Samuel L. Jackson. And he's been approached about joining a superhero thing. And that's what they did in Iron Man. And then that's funny. I think I've been
a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah, a little bit. And meanwhile, the Incredibles, the Pars, are living in a motel because their house was destroyed by a jet in the last movie.
Where have they been? So they've been living in the motel for 3 months then?
I can only assume so, because like all of their possessions were in there, the entire house. I don't know where the money is, and cause, like they've been relying on the superhero relocation program. However, due to this recent development, the government has said, okay, you know what? This whole superhero relocation program thing, we are shutting that shit down. We are leaving you with no financial assistance whatsoever. And so Rick Dicker is out of a job and he's like, hey guys, I'm really sorry, but we're done. And Mr. Incredible's like, hey, so this kid saw my daughter without the mask on. Can you like wipe his memory? And he's like, sure. And
that's a bit of a miscommunication because he just asked him to wipe his memory of seeing Violet, and Rick does the whole thing.
Yeah, that leads to complications later on, and they're sort of stuck in the motel, and this, and then they start to have these conversations with the family, like, hey, we should be able to use our powers. No, we can't. Yes, we can. No, we can't, Bob. Yes, we can, Helen. Why? Why not? Because it's the law, but the law is wrong. That may be so, but there are laws in place to change the law. Well, why isn't the law changing the law? Then, and they're presenting a really interesting philosophical argument about legality versus morality. I'm really not doing it justice with my long-winded waffling on, but it's very interesting, and I think it's very interesting for a kids' movie, or at least a movie that is aimed at all ages, to present this sort of thing.
Exactly. That's why I like The Incredibles so much, because I think out of all of the Pixar films, maybe out of all the Disney films, the Pixar one has conversations more or less that you would hear in real life. They feel realistic in a manner of speaking.
Yeah, I remember in the first movie when the arguments between the two parents sounded very much like two real human beings, two real parents having arguments. I think I may have heard my parents have not similar arguments. They never talk about, okay, we can let our son use his super speed in like sports games. But that
Do you
never
have super? Do you have super speed?
Oh, if I did, we'd all know. You would know.
Yeah, you
I'd
probably
be in
come
the fucking Olympics. Like, I don't give a crap if that's fair or not. Like, I'm joining. God, but yeah, but it felt very, very naturalistic and very, very interesting, and that continues into this movie. And it's not just a case of one person is right and one person is wrong. You might pick a side which you agree with. I personally agree with Mr. Incredible. But it is very, very interesting. And the kids have very interesting questions and points of view that they contribute as well. But it still feels like they are kids contributing point of view. They're not like suddenly putting on their adult speech caps. They're making valid points that a kid would make. And it's a testament to how great of a writer Brad Bird is, as well as director, because he wrote this as well, didn't he?
Let's have a look. See, I believe he directed and wrote it. So, yeah, he had wrote it singly, so it's just his creation again.
Yeah. And what do you know? When a rather smart superhero movie is made with just one person writing, so you don't need like 5 people. Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Sony Animation.
Oh fuck. Oh god. Oh no, I was thinking of something else now because I was thinking
Takes
of
5 people. As it takes 5 people to write the damn emoji movie. Shove off.
The damn what?
The damn emoji movie. Really, it takes more than one person to write that filth.
The emoji movie.
Yeah, the emoji movie.
The emoji movie. What the fuck are you talking about?
I said an emoji.
The emoji movie.
Yeah, I have a funny accent.
I think the accent is the problem. I've got a funny accent. You don't hear me talking. That's the whole thing. Anyway.
cut that.
Anyway, so it's a really interesting conversation. But then they're approached by Frozone who says, hey, I was approached by these guys who say they want to get superheroes back out of the open, even though it's illegal, but with a mind to changing the law. And Mrs. Helen is like, no, but Bob is like, yes, let's do it. And then it's like, you know what, let's hear them out. She's like, okay, fine. And they go out and they meet Winston Dever and Evelyn Dever. And they own a telecommunications corporation.
Winston sells and Evelyn creates.
Winston sells, Evelyn creates. She's like a designer. He's like the salesman guy.
Really nice guy.
Really nice guy. He's voiced by Bob Odenkirk, not James Woods. And she's voiced by Catherine Keener. And then they reveal a very sad story that their father really believed in superheroes and contributed to superhero causes. But sadly, after superheroes were made illegal, he was shot and killed by a burglar after trying to call these 2 superheroes, Gazerbeam and Fironic, for help. And obviously they couldn't answer. And he was killed. And then Evelyn is like, there was a safe room that he could have gone into. And that's when I thought, oh, so she's the villain then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's kind of obvious. I thought maybe they're going like a way to road saying that he's going to be the villain. But even that will be obvious because he's so nice and she's so distant. And it's not that these are bad characters, because they are not. They are interestingly written and complex and multi-layered and multi-dimensional, but it is so fucking obvious that at least one or possibly even both of these characters are the villain, the Screenslaver. We'll get on to him in a sec. And yeah, it's just like, you couldn't have played it up a bit, you couldn't have tried just a bit harder with that. But anyway, and so they say, okay, Frozone, Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, we want you guys to commit to this initiative where we're going to send some heroes out to fight crime and be smart about it, and we're going to push for public support to get superheroes made legal again. And Mr. Incredible's like, that's brilliant! When do we start? And he's just like, whoa there, cool, you're there, Jet's there, Mr. Incredible, because we're not actually going to put you out first. No, we're going to put Mrs. Incredible out first because she's our best bet. Why Frozen isn't also a good bet, I don't know. They don't talk about him, and he just sits off the side like, I'm fine with this, I don't need to be included. And they do come up with a very good reason for Mr. Incredible not doing it, in that he's messy. Because, like, he did get sued a lot back in the good old days, and...
Yeah, which they've never done before in a superhero movie. Which I thought was brilliant.
Really? They've never done, like, superheroes being sued?
I don't think everyone's been sued before, at least not in a straight-faced superhero movie. Not to my knowledge.
I want to say they have done it in something else, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, because one of the memories I had of seeing The Incredibles was when they did the lawsuit and they introduced the superhero relocation program. The entire audience, who were mostly adults, were roaring with laughter, and I was like, okay, I don't get it, but okay, it's funny. And as an adult, I get it. I was like, oh, okay, they're suing superheroes. That's quite funny.
Because that would totally happen in real life, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And, so this is saying, like, Elastigirl, she's going to be facing this whole thing. We're going to send her out. We're going to give her a bunch of cool new toys, a cool new outfit, and all sorts of stuff. And Mr. Incredible is just going to stay home and take care of the kids. And he's like, well, I want to go out there, but I want to support my wife, but I want to go out there. But if she goes out, that means I can go out there. And it would have been so easy to make him, like, complete 100% supportive and no ulterior motive, or the opposite and just, like, all ulterior motive and, like, really unsympathetic. But they go, again, a really intelligent middle ground, like, showing, like, he has conflicting emotions, like a real person would.
It's wonderful writing.
It is great writing, because it's like it makes sense. He wants to support his wife. He wants to get out there, and it is all these things playing with him. But they develop that in interesting ways as the movie goes on, and so they give him a brand new home for him to, take care of the kids in. And this is where I start to get a bit worried, because in the trailer that I saw at least for this movie, it looked like it was going to be very like, oh, now the movie's about, oh, it's so difficult to take care of superhero kids, ooh, wacky family hijinks. And that's not really what The Incredibles is, and I was very, very worried about that that's all it was going to be. It's not. The trailers are, I think, very misleading.
What else is new?
Yeah, what else is new? I should have figured that out for myself.
Yeah. It's good, because I think one of the flaws of The first film, is that Bob didn't have much screen time with his children. And now this is a perfect opportunity to see his relationship with Dash and Violet and Jack. And Helen's elsewhere, so it's now Bob to be the parent and keep the house running, even though he's going insane doing it.
Yeah, and in the first movie, we saw a bit of Elastigirl as a superhero, but there wasn't a lot of focus on that. And now we get to focus on her as a superhero in her old environment. And I'll be honest, it's really cool. The things they do with this character and her powers, like, they give her a brand new bike, and the things she can do with this bike just by disconnecting, like, the two bits of it and stretching and stuff, it's really inventive.
Yeah, I love it. I thought it was really cool. I was like, ooh, look at that. Isn't that brilliant? Yay. Yeah,
it's so creative, because there's a bit... she goes to this new place. I think it's called Metropoliburg or the city. Like
not Metropolis.
Not Metropolis. I can't remember what it's called. It doesn't matter. They go say like, okay, so there's a ton of crime here. This is the perfect place for you to start. Listen to the police radio, and it turns out that there's a train, and it's going weird, it's going wibbly, it's going backward, it's going really fast, and it's going to crash. Oh no! So she chases after it, and it's really cool. And the perfect bit that it explains all the creativity with how she moves around is she's running across the top of the train, and she needs to get close to the end of the train. Does she just run over there? Does she like stretch her legs and move over there? No, she turns her body into a little parachute, quickly flies over there, becomes normal again and just like skids in place. Like, it was only like a couple of meters stuff. She could have just ran. But no, she did a cool movement because it was cool. And Brad Bird just like, he knows his physical movement. He knows how to get his characters from one side to the other in a creative way. And in an engaging way.
Yeah. But that's why I like Elastigirl so much, because she does, and Brad Bird too, because he understands how his powers work, and he uses it on an artistic level. Well, of course, 3 movies of Fantastic Four, and all Mr. Fantastic does is stretch his arms.
Yeah, it's
and also rather embarrassingly change his ethnicity in the Fan Four Stick movie, which was embarrassing.
Mr. Fantastic changes ethnicity.
He did.
Oh yes, he did. He did. Oh God, I forgot about. Oh, I mercifully forgot about that.
I won't forget.
Oh, damn you, Mark.
But on the other hand,
damn you.
But to erase that straight away, Elastigirl doing cool things.
Elastigirl doing cool things. And it turns out the reason why this train is going crazy is because the driver of the train has been mysteriously hypnotized by this person known only as the Screenslaver. And that's a pretty cool pun. It's fine, but like, who uses screensavers anymore?
I don't.
Like, is that a thing that people still do? Do people sort of like still have like 3D pipes and that one brick maze thing? And he's like, oh, that's what happened. And this basically, her plot is tracking down a screensaver. We'll get to that in a bit. We're going to focus on Bob and the Parr children in the house. So, because his memory was wiped, Tony Reidinger forgets entirely about meeting Violet and setting up the date and everything. So she gets stood up, and she's very sad about that. And she goes up to him, and she's like, "Hey, what happened to the date? What's going on here?" And it's just like, and then she realizes, oh, his mind's been wiped. Oh dear, I sound like a crazy person. And god damn it, I identify with this character so much because she's just so fucking awkward around him. And it's just like, even if you took away the whole mind control aspect, she's still awkward. And it's just like, oh god, I just want to hug her and tell her everything will be okay.
Yeah, Violet was my favorite character from this franchise.
You see, I didn't like her that much in the first movie.
I loved her.
Yeah, but she didn't get a lot of screen time and a lot of attention, and the attention she did get was just focused around a boy, I guess, and it still is, but like there wasn't a lot of development for her. Like, I think Dash got a lot more focus and a lot more character development, and in this movie, it's the opposite. Like, Dash has got a bit less character development and a bit more focuses on Violet. And so she renounces superheroes and tries to destroy
them. I renounce superheroes. I am renouncing my renouncement.
Yeah, and she tries to destroy a super suit. It doesn't work because Edna Mo made it, so it's indestructible. It's not rubber.
And machine washable, darling.
That's a new feature. Yeah, and it's oh god. And so then she's sort of like, that's basically most of her stuff. A lot more of the focus is on Bob trying to control Jack, who is revealed to have multiple powers. Why does he have multiple powers? We don't know, because apparently this didn't happen with the other 2 kids, as far as we're aware. So this is weird, and like we gotta ask ourselves a question about this. Is he uber powerful? No, not really. He just has multiple powers. But, and it starts off as you would expect, like, oh my god, you have multiple powers, this is great. Oh my god, you have multiple powers and we can't control you because you're a baby, this is awful. But then he drops him off with Edna, and of course they're going to have Edna. Of course they're going to have Edna. Voiced again by Brad Bird.
Yeah! And as soon as we got to her house, I was just grinning like an idiot, like, oh yes, I have missed her.
It's the best introduction to her because, again, it's her on the video screen at the gate to her house, but she's just, like, staring at him, and it's just like, and he stares back, and it's just like, Edna, so, you had the costume for Elastigirl designed by someone else? How dare you? And it's so funny, it's so Edna. But he brings her in and he's like, okay, so Edna, I need you to take care of this baby because I can't right now, and I need someone to just figure out how this works. But here's the thing. Edna Mode designs costumes for superheroes. That doesn't mean, and in order to do that, she does need to have a vague understanding of the powers of each individual person. I'm still not entirely sold that she's the best person to figure out what the deal is with Jack Jack.
Yeah, I mean they don't directly explain it, but they somehow manage to work their way around it.
Yeah, but mind you, who else is there?
No one.
No one, exactly.
Because Tony Stark doesn't exist in this universe.
No, he doesn't. And at first she's like, no, I don't want a baby. Are you kidding? And then he's like, oh, he's got multiple powers. Get out, Bob. I'll take care of him. And then she and the baby bond. And it's so funny and so fucking adorable.
I like she set up the security code for him like she did in the first film.
Instead of like Edna Mode and guest. It's just like she just holds Jack up to it. It's like bah, 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 bah.
No machine gun this time, which I thought was a little bit disappointing.
Oh well, and then she reveals to him that she's got a special suit for him that's included with a bunch of tech that allows him to anticipate what Jack is going to use as his power next, and employ countermeasures to help either track him or subdue him. And it's great because it's him learning to live with the powers and not trying to suppress them or come up with some stupid like a way of getting around them. No, it's just like, hey, this kid's got some issues. Let's just fucking deal with them and come up with a system. And that's what they do. And what I like is he then teaches Dash and Violet how to deal with the powers as well, so that if they're alone with him, they can deal with it. And I imagine it's. I mean, again, I'm just imagining. I have no experience with this. I imagine it's very similar to how a parent might teach a sibling of a child that they also have that has some sort of special needs on how to deal with that if the situation ever should arise. That's what it sort of felt like to me.
I think that works quite the same way. It's like dial 999, dialing 999 in a way.
Yeah, what to do in a crisis. I mean, the kid's a bit older than that.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do know what you mean, and yeah, again, it's this is sophisticated. This is a sophisticated movie. You know, it's been so fucking long with fucking Peter Rabbit and fucking the Illuminations, the Grinch coming up. Ugh.
Yeah, there was a trailer for that at The Incredibles 2. I was like, looks alright.
Well, I might think that it looked okay, but A, it's Dr. Seuss, it shouldn't be just okay. And B, let's examine all the other Dr. Seuss films that Illumination has made. Like
Lock and Load.
Sorry?
Lock and Load.
Lock and Load, yeah. Okay, so let's see here. There was the Lorax, shit. Horton Hears a Who, okay, if you're being really generous. And, what else?
Cat in the Hat.
Illumination did Cat in the Hat?
Oh no, I'm sorry, but I thought if we take all of them into account.
No. Just the Illumination ones.
Okay, just Illumination ones. Fine. Okay, the pretending ones don't exist.
Yeah, and it's clear they've learned nothing. It's clear they're just doing we'll judge it when it comes out. It might be brilliant. We'll never know. But we're talking about Incredibles. We're talking about a good fucking animated movie. And so that's basically Bob's storyline, and he's trying. It's interesting to see when he's at his lowest point, where he's sleep deprived from Jack. He sees that his Incredicar, because I refuse to call it an Incredibile.
I don't mean being called an Incredibile. I'm definitely sure it's called Incredicar in the first movie.
Yeah, but apparently. Has been sold to this rich guy who can't get to work because he's got the remote control, and he's just like, they told me it was stolen. It was damaged beyond all repair. They told me there was no way that I could get it back. And then it's just like, oh yeah, we got it. It was in perfect working order. It was like new, really. And he's just like rage, and I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Hell yeah! At least you didn't take out the kids directly, anyway.
Yeah, again, that would have been so easy for him to take out his anger, frustration on the kids and to snap at them. But no, because again, that has been done a million times, and it's so stupid and played out and unrealistic and unnaturalistic and just lazy, But this film isn't lazy. Oh God, I feel like an abused dog that's been stroked for the first time.
Oh,
Like, it's just like, is this what love feels like? Oh God, and then he slowly gets better. He works hard in helping Dash understand the new maths thing, which I think every parent that has a child in school has to deal with at some point. Although,
yes.
actually, I'll take that back, because my parents, like, they helped me out a little bit, but their ethos was just like, oh, you've got homework? Well, good luck doing that. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, well, I failed miserably in maths. Although, funny story, when I was in college, we had a bloke come in to teach us maths, and we all took an exam, and we all failed. It was the funniest thing.
Hey, our education's going down the toilet. These past few months have been a complete waste of time.
Well, it was pretty much, because I apparently have something called dyscalculia, which apparently something to do with inability to understand maths. So,
oh, is that dyslexia?
No, I don't think so. I don't really understand it.
I thought it was like dyslexia, but for numbers and integers and stuff like that.
Or maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know.
No, you're not. I know you. You're fucking not. Jeez.
The only thing I get is times tables.
I don't forget. Like, I worked my ass off in school to get a C in GCSE maths because I'm shit at maths. I have to use my fingers to count.
Well, because of the stupid grade system in my school, I was only allowed to get a C on all subjects, which was stupid.
What do you mean you were only allowed to?
I was in the top set for English.
They're keeping you down, man. It's the system, man.
Gotta beat the system, man. Oh well. Anyway, yep. We're getting we can be.
Don't get me started on UCAS, but no, we won't. And he tries to he tries to fix things between Violet and Tony. He takes them to the restaurant where he works part-time, and as soon as she sees him, she squirts water out of her nose, and he's just like, oh my God, oh, it's so awkward, oh, I was her as a teenager, still am to a certain extent, jeez, but oh God, and but that all comes to a head with and then eventually, as it must do, his storyline intersects with Elastigirl's storyline. And what happens with Elastigirl is she's trying to find the Screenslaver. She's about to go on an interview to discuss superheroes coming back into the limelight. The Screenslaver attacks. Basically, he can hack any screen and project an image on the screen that causes people to get completely and utterly fixated and hypnotized. And she figures this out pretty quickly and tries to find him and fails. And so they try to set up a trap, basically, to find him. And this is where she meets lots of other superheroes, other new superheroes who are in hiding, who've been brought out, including this one character called Void, who's very adorable and very nice. And during this time, she bonds with Evelyn, who's got a sort of like a cynical personality, but she's still got some really interesting things to say. And they bond. And you know what? These two, again, they have some really interesting and sophisticated arguments about, like, capitalism and the state of society and stuff. And I had to remind myself, this is a movie that is primarily, at least, targeted at children. And they are having, like, a really intelligent conversation. It's more intelligent than any conversation I've fucking had.
Yeah.
Like, he's easily. And it's so good. Thank you, Brad. But thank you. There's I honestly do think, like, Brad Bird is swiftly becoming one of my favourite storytellers of all time, because he made my favourite film of all time, Iron Giant.
Yay!
And he made so many other great films. He lost me a bit with Tomorrowland, but now
I still think Tomorrowland's great, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I still think Tomorrowland is not good at all, and I'm right, because that's fact. And so,
not gonna get it. Moving on, we're praising Brad Bird.
Yeah, praising Brad Bird, and it's just so interesting, and there's such a good rapport and interesting chemistry and dynamic. Catherine Keener is great as this character, and like I know, you must be the Screenslaver, but then it turns out, oh wait, the Screenslaver's attacking this interview while she's there. Oh, well, she can't be the Screenslaver, right? Right? Yeah, I've seen this play before. Like, obviously, she's got a dupe in place somewhere. But who knows? Or no, maybe her brother, because we don't see her brother. So maybe both of them at the same time. But anyway, and so they set up a trap to trace the signal to get a hold of the Screenslaver. And after an interesting chase sequence trying to get him down, an interesting fight sequence. And speaking of the fight sequence, it takes place in like this little cage thing filled with screens that he tries to trap her in. And apparently in the UK, we got a special edit of this movie to remove a lot of flashing lights, because apparently this is very difficult for people with photosensitive epilepsy to watch.
Well, admittedly, I don't have epilepsy, but when I watched the scene, I had to close my eyes because it was starting to hurt a bit.
You see, I didn't. So if even the toned down version for the UK audiences is still quite flashy, that's quite intense.
But the good thing was that Disney and Pixar didn't jump around it. They gave out warnings to cinemas and stuff, which I think was quite sensible of them.
Yeah, and again, they did this card. They worked very hard to make sure, like, because they don't want anyone having a fit while watching their movie. Fair enough.
Nintendo.
Yeah, too fucking right. Porygon kills. And but she eventually manages to subdue him. She takes off his mask. He's like, what happened? And I thought, well, obviously he's been mind wiped by the real Screenslaver. No one brings up this possibility. And it's just like, really? You just apprehended the bad guy and was like, what the hell? Where am I? Like, no memory of it. And they're just like, oh, you're obviously faking it. Like, is he? And then they have like a party like, yay, we stopped the Screenslaver. And I'm sitting there thinking, is no one else thinking? Because it's so obvious he isn't the real Screenslaver. A, because, like, he has no memory of the incident, and like this is something that could happen. And B, like, we're not at the end of the movie. There's still a good amount of time left on the runtime. You're not going to trick us, movie. God. And again, this is a bigger issue than Brad Bird or Pixar in this movie. This is something that I noticed in a lot of movies. Like, they try and trick us into thinking like the real bad guy isn't actually the bad guy, or the person we think the bad guy isn't the bad guy, or something is different, or a friend is an enemy is a friend, whatever. And it's just like, if it's not like right near the end of the movie, I'm still gonna think like, this is why the Usual Suspects is such a good movie, because the reveal at the end of that movie, I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with this reveal by this point, is brilliant because it was done at the very last minute, and all the pieces fall together in like the last couple of minutes of the movie. That's why it's such a good twist. And here it's just like, we got like 30 minutes left of runtime. I'm pretty sure we haven't caught the main bad guy yet. What are they going to do? Just potter around until they get the credits? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, this is a trend I've started to notice in both Disney and Pixar movies.
Oh yeah, they did fucking Frozen.
Frozen did it, but I thought that was all right. Big Hero 6 did it. Moana didn't really do it. Zootopia did it. So it's kind of becoming like, okay, we get it. Oh, Cars 2 did it as well. Cars 2 did it first. Cars 2 actually did it first. So it was like, okay.
Coco did it?
Yeah, Coco did it as well. So that was like, okay, we get it. Yeesh. The Coco's was quite heartbreaking.
Anyway, talking about a good Pixar movie. And so, admittedly, Helen at this point does get kind of suspicious, saying it felt too easy. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, he trapped you in a big box trying to mind wipe you and electrocuted you with a stun gun several times while your eyes were closed. That didn't look easy. Like, I'm pretty sure he made you work for it. Like, if you're going to have suspicions, it should have been because it's so fucking obvious, not because it was too easy. And then she's just like, oh, okay, oh my god, maybe if the Screenslaver has to use screens, maybe she screenslaved this guy, and oh, she feels around inside his mask thing that she managed to take. Oh, there's a pair of goggles inside. Oh my god, the Screenslaver could be someone else, and then Evelyn puts the goggles on her. And it's like, Oh no! Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Betrayal.
Yes, it's obvious. It's obvious. And then she puts her in a frozen room thing, which we've already seen in a fucking Fantastic Four movie.
I was like, okay, I like that. But it's like, okay, I remember that scene.
Yeah, and it turns out that she's got a hatred against superheroes because her dad, instead of going to the safe room, which her mum apparently begged him to do, thought about calling superheroes, so she's angry at superheroes because they didn't come.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying that, like, okay, as motivations go, this is clear, this is fine, I guess, but they were made illegal, they couldn't help. There was nothing they could have done. I feel like you're just sort of mad at your dad. And she goes on like a brother saying, a dad likes superheroes, she says a really good line about her brother saying like, our dad was alive while superheroes were around and legal, so he's conflated the two. I thought that's a really interesting viewpoint. But her viewpoint is slightly askew as well, and I felt that could have been addressed, but it's not a big issue for me. What's a slightly bigger issue is her philosophy in total. Because, like, remember, Syndrome had a really interesting philosophy. It was kind of a cynical one, but it was still kind of interesting. He wanted to be a superhero. So he constructed a plan where he would kill all superheroes, take up the place as a sort of fake superhero, make everyone think that he's a superhero, or he's established himself as one, and then fly around pretending to be a superhero and have his fun, and when he's done with that, he'll sell all his inventions so that everyone can be super, and that he'll be and then the final nail in the coffin will be because everyone will be super, no one will be. And it was a really interesting, multi-layered, interesting plan that was unique to him and fit with him. Mm-hmm. Her philosophies of the movie is, again, kind of cynical, but also like, she's like talking about, oh, everything's too convenient now. People will take whatever crap they throw at you as long as it's easy to use. And she sort of bemoans her brother because he's really good with people and she's not. And I kept thinking, there's a lot of really interesting things here. And I feel like if they just expanded upon a bit more or made it a bit more coherent and cohesive, we would have a really interesting antagonistic mind to deal with. And we've got the pieces of one, but it doesn't quite gel for me.
I agree. I mean, my concern was, please don't get. When she was revealed as the bad guy, like, okay, fine. I thought they were going to throw some stupid thing that's like, oh, by the way, I was the one who broke into the house and killed my father. I was like, oh, please don't go down, man. Please don't do that. But
yeah, that would be really stupid.
Thankfully, they didn't do that. So she is a victim of. I suppose she's a victim of idealism in a way, because her father and her brother were so convinced that that Gazer Beam and what's it again, the fire guy, Phyronic were going to come rescue them. But if this took place after the heroes were banned, then it's more like they weren't going to come out. Even though Gazer Beam was a advocate for heroes' rights in the first film, which I think is a bit interesting.
Yeah, it's I don't know. The pieces are there. It just doesn't really work. But it's not so bad that she doesn't make for a completely unappealing villain. Like she is interesting. She's got this whole diabolical streak, and there is a very real humanity to her that does make her very compelling. And what is her ultimate plan? She plans to finally turn the world against superheroes forever by basically mind controlling a bunch of them and causing them to be responsible for a big catastrophe and make everyone scared of them so that everyone will
Sorry.
Bless you.
Sneezed. Sorry.
Did you? It didn't sound like it. And so that everyone will blame them for it. And I'm thinking, like, okay, that's not a bad plan, but there was recently a mind control villain on the loose, one whose capture may have been slightly dubious. I really feel like it's going to take like 5 seconds of investigation before someone thinks, okay, so all the superheroes were like fine for 1 second and then like immediately bad all of a sudden, and they were speaking in weird monotone voices whilst wearing these glowing eye goggles. maybe they were mind controlled. Like, I feel like I'm just like, this isn't the most watertight plan.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what we understand is pizza delivery guy who was the fake Screenslaver. They mention he's in prison now. So how exactly did they get through the trial and the interrogation and all that without anyone, not a single person, questioning whether or not he was a victim himself?
Yeah, and like the government, the US government in this has mind wiping devices. They can erase people's memories, so they should recognize the fucking symptoms.
Yeah, you think Rick Dicker would have maybe done some, maybe not illegal investigating of his own?
Yeah, and that would have been a really cool side character because he like pops up like twice in the beginning, once at the beginning, and then later on when he explains to Bob that, oh yeah, I completely mind wiped this kid's mind. And Rick Dicker is now voiced by Jonathan Banks from Breaking Bad.
Him, really?
Yeah, Breaking Bad, and also it's Bob Odenkirk from Better Call Saul. So this is...
Wow. Breaking Bad lineup.
This is a weird reunion between them, but it's nice to have them there. And yeah, that would have been kind of interesting. I feel like it's not okay. Like she's going to cause some devastation because they're all like all the superheroes are on this like hydrofoil, this big boat that's going straight for the city. Like she's going to go do some damage, but I feel like maybe she could have thought it through just a wee bit more, just a wee bit more. And she uses Elastigirl to lure Mr. Incredible into a trap, puts a pair of goggles on him, and send a bunch of other mind-controlled supers to their house to get the Parr children. And Frozone arrives at this point. He's like, hey, guys, what you doing? We're here to get the children. Oh, no worries, guys. I'll take care of the children. Don't worry. Oh, God, this isn't going to end well for me. But it's so cool to see a bit more of Frozone in his element because we didn't see that much of him in the previous movie. I saw a bit, I suppose. And it's cool. He's defending the children. They get the Incredicar back and they put them in. But sadly, he gets mind controlled as well. And the children manage to get away from all the other superheroes. And
it's Spy Kids time.
Yeah, because like for a second they're like, okay, so Mr. Incredible, mind controlled. Elastigirl, mind controlled. Frozone, mind controlled. There's no one that can help us and no way we can do it. What do we have? We have a super baby. Let's roll.
Actually, I don't really get why they couldn't go to Edna. Because they mentioned, oh, we can't go to Edna. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Is it because they don't know where she lives? I think pretty sure they.
Of course they know where she. Like, why couldn't they just go to Edna?
Yeah, go to Edna or go to
she's a
Rick Dicker.
Or call someone, anyone. So hell, my parents have been brainwashed by the evil lady.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I again, multiple options, but what they do is pretty cool because they turn the Incredicar into an Incrediboat and they go on the hydrofoil and they infiltrate it. And it's like, and Violet gives Dash the baby and says like, hey, look after Jack. I'm gonna find Mum and Dad. And she encounters Void, who has got the power to like basically she's got like a portal gun in her mind. It's pretty damn cool, and she uses the powers really damn effectively. Like there's like when you see her without the mind control, she's very unsure of herself. She doesn't use her powers very well. But when she is mind controlled, she uses the powers like to her fullest extent. There's no defense against her. But against the odds, Violet does manage to defeat her and sort of leaves her there without taking the mind control glasses off.
Yeah, they did it multiple times. Like, take the damn thing off. You'll have an ally.
Yeah, but like, it's not like she doesn't know what they are. She's seen them. She knows how they work. Just like, fucking take her off while she's unconscious, and then you've got an ally. But no, she leaves her there, and then Void comes back and attacks her again, and she managed to defeat her again along with this other guy. I think he's called Crusher.
It's something funny, a Crush Hour or something like that.
Something like that. And she managed to defeat both of them. Again, leaves the glasses on both of them, and just like, fucking hell, really? Really? Are you this stupid? And, oh god, but they managed to eventually get to Mr. Incredible, Frozone, Elastigirl, and Jack managed to get the glasses off his mom. And so like, okay, now we've got to sort this shit out. Meanwhile, most of like the delegates and Winston and Dever and few other superheroes are being en masse mind controlled by the Screenslaver. But when things starts to go wrong, things start to get out of hand. Evelyn gets him and takes him away, gets him out of harm's way, because I assume she still loves her brother, even though she has severe philosophical differences with him. And then he sort of snaps out of his trance and is like, say, hey, what's going on? It's like, we're getting out of here. Why? Oh, because it's all going to blow up. And it's just like, you can't do that. Yes, I can. I'm going to. So deal with it, because here's the safest place for you to be. And he's like, no, it isn't. And he fucking jumps out of it. He's like, yeah, good for you, Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
And
call Saul.
Yeah. Yeah. And
if only they had a lawyer who could help them. Oh wait, I used to be a lawyer. Haha.
Yeah. And so they managed to get most of the other superheroes unmind controlled. It's like, okay, great. Oh, but wait, the controls for the big boat are all smashed, and it's going right for the city. Okay, so Mrs. Incredible, you go after Screenslaver with the help of Void. Mr. Incredible, Frozone, and kids, you try and basically turn this puppy around, and they try and turn the rudder and break up one of the hydrofoils. They manage to do it in the nick of time. It's a pretty cool scene. But what's really cool is Mrs. Incredible, Helen. She has so many fucking names. Elastigirl. She uses help with help of Void, trying to get up to this extra spare plane thing that the Screenslaver has. Evelyn. She has so many names as well. Fucking hell. Trying to get up there. And that's a really cool scene. And the confrontation between her as well is really cool. She like shoots a flare at her, knocks her out of the plane, jumps out of the plane, tries to get her using the parachute and stuff. And then Evelyn tries to, like, when they're in mid-air, tries to like fight her off and stuff. And like, if she doesn't help you, you're going to die. Like, do you want to die? Is that it? Jeez. But eventually they do manage to save her, and boat crashes, but no one is hurt, and it's all fine. And superheroes are made legal again with no repercussions whatsoever. Like, no one, like, okay, so what exactly did happen over here? Do we want to talk about this? Nope, superheroes are legal. Boom, everything's fine. And then Violet makes a point like, oh yeah, the rich lady's going to jail. Yeah, she'll probably just get off with a slap on the wrist. And Winston Dever is like, haha, Violet, I like you. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, no, she raised a really legitimate point. Like, is she actually going to jail? Are you going to get her off because she's your sister? Or are there going to be long-term consequences of this? Like, don't brush this off. Like, I feel like there was a last-minute sort of, not redemption, but proving that Winston was actually a really good guy with the best of intentions, because at one point Evelyn, after she's revealed as the Screenslaver, says, I would never reveal my mind control technology to my brother because I know he would use it and sell it and stuff. I was waiting for the scene where someone's going to ask him, like, so now that you know this mind control technology exists, what are you going to do with it? And he would have said, nothing. I'm going to destroy it, or I'm going to hand it over to the police as evidence, or it's going to be locked up because no one should have this kind of power. That scene never happens. I was waiting for the scene where he's going to formally, like, disavow his sister, or say, no, you're a supervillain like any of us. You're exactly the same kind of people that killed mum and dad, or well, dad rather. You're going away. I don't care about you anymore. That doesn't happen. It's like, and he's still a nice guy and still a good character, but I feel like, again, there's something sort of missing.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe it was a little bit rushed. They should have had like another scene together and wrapped up.
Well, this movie is how long is it? It is 125 minutes. That's how much is that in hours?
It's less than an hour and a half. It's like less than 90 minutes. It's like 75? No.
125 minutes is less than 90 minutes.
I'm dumb. It's late.
It's late? At time of recording, it's nearly 9 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, late. Yeah, late.
You're not fucking a nonagenarian, Mark.
I feel like it sometimes.
No, you don't, jeez. And anyway, Violet manages to reconnect with Tony and actually ask him out on a date properly this time.
Oh,
and he asks her, like, aren't you the girl with the water? And she's like, I'm Violet! It's so funny. It's so funny. And she gets a lot more comedic lines in this movie than she did in the last one. And they all go to the movie, and it's like a cute family scene in the car with her and everyone. But then they see like a high-speed pursuit between police and armed gunmen. And I was wondering, like, this would be a perfect scene to have the Underminer in. I guess not. And Violet leaves Tony the theatre with a promise to be back in time. And they all don the mask, and it ends pretty much similar to the first movie, rather, as they give chase. But this time, they're in a new red Incredicar.
New toys.
New toys, and that's it. That's the movie, and it was really damn good. There are some nitpicks, there are some things holding it back, but you know what? They don't spoil the fun. And even if with these, they're like a tiny oh no, there are slightly too many bran flakes in my fruit and fiber as opposed to actual like raisins and dry bananas and apples and crap. But you know what? It's still fucking fruit and fiber. It's still really nice.
Interesting analogy.
I like fruit and fiber, so sue me!
I can't, you're not a superhero.
And, yeah, but I have a healthy amount of fiber in my diet, and that's what being a superhero really is about.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this was, I think it was a bit funnier at times, but it was just as sophisticated, just as interesting. The characters are just as developed, but there's more development put on characters in that didn't get as much development last time, or the development is going in different ways. They feel genuinely real characters, multi-dimensional, interesting, engaging, relatable. The other side characters are really cool. Samuel L. Jackson as Frozone is still great. Winston Dever, Evelyn Dever are great. Edna Mode is great. Rick Dicker is great. The side superheroes, like there's some of them feel like they're pastiches of superheroes. Like there's one called like Reflux. It's just like, oh, is it acid reflux or is it a superpower? Like, you be the judge. But like, he's a genuine superhero. And there's Void, who's got really cool powers, and Crusher and Helectrix, who are both voiced by Phil Lamar, who's a great voice actor, I swear to God.
Yeah, and Reflux is voiced by Paul Eading, who is Perceptor of Transformers.
Did not know that. There you go. And Barry Bostwick is a mayor, apparently. Who didn't know that? Oh, and Usher is in the movie.
He's the guy who's Frozone's valet.
Yeah, and there's an owl-themed superhero and a big giant guy
called Brick.
Called Brick, who's like, where are you from? Wisconsin. It was weird. I don't get it. And the animation is great. The hair effects look much better in this movie than they did in the last one. They do a weird thing though with Dash in this movie where they like twist his hair out at the back, but that makes sense given what he does. And he's still really funny in his movements and where he goes about. Mm-hmm. It was super speed. And it's just... the question we need to ask is this. Is it better than the first movie?
Ooh. I'm going to say no.
I am also going to say no. It is not worse than the previous movie. I think it's about the same, and it's better in some ways, and it's worse in other ways, so it all sorts of balance out. But it still feels like a good continuation. I do like it when sequels are better than the original, but you know what? If it's just as good, I'm more than happy with that. That's great, and I enjoyed this movie. I got excited, I laughed, I cried. It was awesome.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I do have one more minor complaint. I think it's when they redid like jokes from the first film. I thought, okay, don't really need to do the jokes because they did basically all of Edna's appearance was a joke to her, was a nod to her original appearance. They did the super suit joke, and they did a couple more, but I think they didn't overdo it.
There's no like no capes or anything like that. It was. I think in terms of all the amount of jokes they could have reused, they played it pretty safe. And
yeah, I didn't think they had to do. They didn't have to do the no cape joke because they used that to defeat Syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. And the Screenslaver does not have a cape.
Yes.
Speaking of which, the design of the Screenslaver, like there's the fake Screenslaver and there's the real Screenslaver, both designs of these characters are pretty damn cool.
Yeah, the Screenslaver, I was trying to think who it reminded me of, and then I went, aha, he reminds me. I assume you've seen Legend of Korra.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
He reminds me of Amon's psychic with the goggles and the electric sticks.
I can't remember his name. I know he's voiced by Lance Henriksen.
It didn't have a name. It's just like Amon psychic.
Like Equalist Lieutenant or something. I don't know. But
his name is now Steve. We shall call him Steve.
We shall call him Steve. And yeah, it was a pretty cool design, very creepy design, and creepy because you don't see him for a long time, and the scene where Elastigirl is slowly making his way through his hideout and stuff, and it's very creepy and slow. This movie knows when to slow down and when to speed up. It knows when to have quiet moments and serious moments and emotional moments, and it knows when to have like the action scenes and stuff. It's just so smart.
Smart and smooth.
It's smart, it's smooth, it's sophisticated. That's Brad Bird in a nutshell. See, Holly Hunter, this is what a good superhero movie looks like. She's got a weird like superhero movie sandwich. She's got like Incredibles, good. Batman vs Superman, bad. Incredibles 2, good. It's like the bread is of the highest quality, like the best whole meal, topped with sesame seeds and toasted in a kiln made by Tibetan monks. And in the middle of that, the filling of the sandwich is just like a turd.
Lex Luthor's urine.
Lex Luthor's urine, yeah. It's just, oh, God, jeez. But anyway, she's great in this.
They're all great, aren't they?
Yeah, Craig T. Nelson, the only person who doesn't, well, two people don't come back. Obviously, Bud Lucky sadly can't because he died earlier this year. And he retired in 2014 as well, so he probably wasn't going to come back anyway. No. And also the original voice actor for Dash, like he's grown up now. He's like in a band and stuff, so he's doing other things. So they got a new guy, this guy called Huck Milner or Huckleberry Milner, I don't know his name. And
his name is Huck. That's awesome.
His name's Huck. Huck Dasher is good, and yeah, he's great. Sarah Vowell returns as Violet Parr. I thought she was a kid in the previous movie. It turns out she's not. She's a grown woman who is really interesting because she doesn't do a lot of voice acting, doesn't do a lot of acting. She's just like really interesting social commentary on like people being assassinated and the history of America and stuff like that. It's very interesting that she would do something like this, but she does it so well.
Very talented. Very,
very talented. And yeah, Samuel L. Jackson is back and he's great. Love him. Catherine Keener, she's just great. I kept on wondering, like, I recognize that voice. Who is that? I don't know. As opposed to Bob Odenkirk, who was saying, is that James Woods? It sounds a bit like James Woods. I really hope it's not James Woods. Yeah, I guess.
It wasn't. Because apparently he looks, Winston looks like Bob Odenkirk. So it's like, when I got home, I was staring at the picture.
Oh, he does a bit as well, yeah.
I suppose he looks a little bit. I was like, I don't know, he looks all right, I suppose.
Yeah. And of course, John Ratzenberger makes his obligatory cameo as the Underminer. Yay! Sophia Bush is Void, and she's got a really good, gives a really good performance, and just like, it's a good solid cast, it's a good solid script, it's a good solid direction, it's a good solid animation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of something that's like worse than a nitpick to talk about this movie about, and I'm drawing a blank. This movie currently, I think it's like 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. That I think that's earned that maybe like at least like high 80s. It's rare that you get a movie that's so polished as this, and there are some critics out there saying it's got a few issues, and I think they're right about this, a lot of that stuff. But here's the thing, there are faults in this movie, because every movie has faults. There is no such thing as a perfect movie. I've said this before. But apart from the Iron
Giant.
No, Iron Giant has its faults. It's my favourite movie, but it's not perfect, you know.
I suppose.
And here's the thing: a good movie, a great movie, makes you enjoy it despite the flaws, makes you forget about the flaws, and that's what this does. It's so satisfying.
It's incredible, incredibly satisfying.
It's incredible satisfying.
No.
And there are talks about a third. Nothing in stone. Producer John Walker said they wouldn't rule a third film out. Samuel L. Jackson, Sophia Bush have said that they would like to reprise their roles. I'm seriously considering. Just thinking about it now. I'm just thinking about getting this movie on DVD. I rarely do that these days, just because I enjoyed all the special features on the Incredibles first one DVD. There was that short film that we mentioned earlier, but there also was there was the Mr. Incredible and Frozone cartoon that was just done with static shots.
With Mr. Skippadoo.
With Mr. Skippadoo, the rabbit or the squirrel, whatever it was.
Frozen's white.
Oh yeah, guys. For those of the people, the capers at home who are wondering, what the fuck are they talking about? They did this funny added bonus on the DVD where it was one of those really, really old cartoons. It's basically just static shots, little to no animation at all. Makes old school Scooby-Doo look positively like a Studio Ghibli film. And
they have human lips.
They have human lips moving as the dialogue. And Frozone in the animation looks significantly whiter. And there's the two versions of this. There's the version where it's just the cartoon, where it's Frozone and Mr. Incredible and Mr. Skippadoo, because they've got a cute animal sidekick, looking for this supervillain who's a communist who has stolen the city's bridges. Of course,
Lady Lapbug.
The sinister yet lovely Lady Lightbug, and then it's let's make it like a banana and split. Hold it, Frozone. We can't leave. It's all coming back to me. I can't remember any of my maths GCSE lessons, but I can remember the lines from this fucking short DVD extra. We can't just leave all this traffic piled up. There's nothing more important than making sure our citizens are on the go. Well, this'll get there. Hubcap's roving for now. Cool it! And then he freezes a bridge of ice, but we don't see him making the bridge of ice. We just see Mr. Incredible saying, "Amazing! You're making a bridge of ice! I've never seen anything like it!" And I'm thinking, you know what? Neither of us, because we're not seeing him fucking make it. And then we cut to them the bridge of ice already made. And the second version of this, though, is Craig T. Nelson and Samuel L. Jackson as Mr. Incredible and Frozone doing commentary on this episode. And one of the first things that Samuel L. Jackson says is, "Hold up, they may be a white guy." And Mr. Incredible's like, "No, they didn't make you white." "Yeah, they did. Look at me, I'm a white guy." And he's like, "No, you're more tan." And Samuel L. Jackson really turns into Samuel L. Jackson in this, and he's just "Oh, I'm sorry, the tan superhero." Gets just and that rabbit is getting on my last nerve.
Did you commission the rabbit? I had nothing to do with the damn rabbit.
It's so funny, and you also get backstories on all the superheroes, and you get audio interviews, with characters that never got a line in the original movie that were maybe on screen for a fraction of a second. Get lines and interviews with people between actually Bud Lucky did a lot of extra work on the DVDs doing as Rick Dicker interviewing a lot of these people. And there's little things Thunderhead had an audio recording of do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, strong, storm powers. Nice man, good with kids.
Good with kids.
And because of that, they had doing Thunderhead doing this PSA thing for kids, but messing it up "Hi kids, this is Thunderhead, and don't run with scissors, because that's bad." I turned to Mr. Mackey for a second there, and it's just stuff like that, and it was just jam-packed, and you so rarely get that on DVDs as far as I'm aware these days, or Blu-rays or whatever. So I really hope they do stuff like that with The Incredibles 2 DVD, and when that comes out I sure would like to get it, because you don't get that on fucking Netflix or Amazon Prime and on demand stuff like that. it's just or Amazon Prime. There's a wealth of content we're missing out on, and I feel bad about that.
Half the DVDs I have, they label subtitles as special features.
Oh, special feature now! If you can't hear the movie or can't understand it, now you can. That's great.
I do. Half the DVDs I have, they don't have any special features at all. Occasionally they have like commentary on there. I'm like, okay, fine, I can do that. And most of the time, it's just like they list like the really like the cheap ones list special features as the different sound options and things like that. Like, how is that special features?
Special feature, now you can listen to the movie in Hungarian. Oh. Well, I mean, I get it because the nature of the DVD and Blu-ray market is changing because of online and streaming and on-demand and stuff like that. But, I mean, like...
You can't get that sort of on Netflix.
If you want to edge out the competition, include a buttload of special features that people can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose something else we should talk about, if you're interested, is how Disney have been celebrating the return of The Incredibles.
Well, how have they been celebrating it?
With the what's it called? They've in Disneyland they've rethemed one of their lands at at Disney's California Adventure from Paradise Pier to Pixar Pier, and they've basically decorated it with tons of Pixar themed characters, and they've now got the Incredicoaster.
Whoop-de-fucking-do. I'm not going to be able to enjoy that.
No, because we're over here.
Yeah. Great, good for them. Like, I guess they're cashing in now, like, years after Pixar has become successful and internationally acclaimed, and years after The Incredibles came out to international acclaim. And
when Disney has started doing this now, every time there's a sequel coming out, they're basically rehashing some of their attractions to tie in with the release of the new films. It's getting a bit annoying, to be honest.
It is getting annoying, especially considering that, like, this movie was so anticipated. You talked about how patient you were and how much you wanted this. This movie made $182.7 million on its opening weekend, which is the record for the best debut for an animated film.
Oh, well done, well done. Let's clap silently for that. Well done.
No, we slow clap.
Yeah. So I think that amount of money, rave reviews. I think we should get another sequel. Just don't wait another 15 years for it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, we should have got a sequel because this movie is good and the previous movie is good, not just because they both made a lot of money.
Exactly.
Because, like, it doesn't matter how much money you make if people don't like it. Like, God, because I don't know. I
sat through 5 Transformers movies.
Yeah, but people are getting severely sick of them because they're shit.
Exactly. We demand quality.
We do demand quality. We do. That's what we fucking do in this show.
We want our stories back.
We want our stories back. Oh, God. But you know what? It just goes to show, like, there's a lot of superhero movies out there, and some of them are good, Marvel. Some of them are bad, DC. But you could, no matter where you stand, you could always count on Pixar 9 times out of 10 to make something to just remind you, like, this is what being good feels like. This is what being genuinely entertained feels like. Like, I remember sitting through Peter fucking Rabbit. No one laughed during that movie.
Wait. You actually went to see it?
Yeah, I can't complain about a movie if I can't see it, And I saw it, and because I wanted to give it a chance. I talked about this with you before. I wanted to give it a chance because maybe, just maybe, we talked about this before, the trailers were all shit. Maybe they were misleading, and the movie was actually really good. And it wasn't. It was pure crap. And I've talked about that more than enough times. But it's like, you can tell the audience when I was watching this movie is so different from the one in Peter Rabbit. Like, the adults were laughing, the kids were laughing, there were gasps, it was awesome. And because when you make a good movie, people are going to have a reaction, both in their wallets and also in their memories. People are going to remember this movie like we remember Incredible. Like, I love Incredible so much, I remember lines wholesale from the DVD fucking extras. That's how good it is. I cannot for the life of me remember like a whole complete coherent sentence from fucking Peter Rabbit, except for that one. Actually, no, that one bit where I could do the only thing I remember is that one bit that said, "Oh, I hope we don't get letters about the whole allergy thing," and just because that was so fucking stupid.
Jesus, who thought it was a good idea to put that in a damn movie?
They're run by monkeys. That's the thing. They're run by gibbons, absolute gibbons.
Exactly. The reason why I love Incredible so much is the only film I've seen 3 times in the cinema.
Wow, yeah. Something so good you're willing to see. I don't think I've ever seen a movie 3 times in the cinema, maybe twice on a few occasions.
Okay, one was a school trip, one I saw with my sister, and I think one was also with one of my friends. So, 3 times. A lot of people to go see it with.
But you were willing to go back.
Because it was that good. It's one of the It's not only one of the best Pixar films, not only one of the best Disney films, but also one of the best animated films ever.
I think that's a reasonable thing. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think in terms of superhero animated films, it's definitely one of the best ever. It's a great superhero movie, great animated movie, great Pixar movie, great Brad Bird movie. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. And Brad Bird, if you're listening, I love you and I want to have your babies. And on that note, I think we're going to end the show. Thank you very much, Mark, for joining me today.
Yeah, but have you seen my super suit?
Your what?
Have you seen my super suit?
I put it away.
Where?
It's just away,
Oh, I need it.
Why do you need it?
The public is in danger.
My evening's in danger.
Just tell me where my suit is, Scott. We're talking about the greater good.
Greater good? I am a podcast host. I am the greatest good you are ever going to get. We have fun on this show. And if you enjoy the show, please tell your friends. Shout it from the rooftops. And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes. Like, have you ever talked about a Pixar movie on this show before?
Does our history of Disney count?
Sure, why not? And you can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, or at PodCapers.com. We have a Patreon. Check out the rewards, patreon.com/AP2HYC. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe you want to come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HYC, or email us at podcapers@ap2hyc.com. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone with the red and blue 3D glasses. And thank you for listening. This has been PodCapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. Cue the music!